Yo, plant-based buddies, happy Saturday. I wanted to talk about the spectrum of health today. Since the first time I talked about it, I think the group has grown considerably. Now, this is a poster that I created a few years back. My friend Natalie made sure that I had pretty colors, and I printed it so it's literally on my wall in my office at work. I took it off this morning just so I could show it to you. And it's what we call the spectrum of health. Now, food either promotes disease, protects you from disease, or has a neutral impact on your disease. Now, by disease, I mean mortality, morbidity, chronic conditions like cardiovascular disease, cancer, autoimmune disease, allergic disease, neurodegenerative disease, etc. Now, it's tough to label food good or bad. I think we all know which foods are associated with health protection or kind of cause health issues. Now, the way it's measured in nutritional science is that we tend to compare nutrient or food substitutions. Now, what I mean by that is that if someone asks me, is our eggs healthy? I would have to say compared to what? Now, keep in mind that if you're eating bacon and sausages every single day, yeah, and if you substitute that with eggs, yeah, you're likely going to get healthier. But if you eat oatmeal and berries every day and you substitute that with eggs, your metabolic parameters are likely to get worse. So food exists on a spectrum, and a spectrum of health would look like ultra-processed foods, processed and red meats, animal products like white meat, fish, dairy, and eggs, and then whole and minimally processed plants. As you're trending towards this side, your health parameters tend to get better. You will get to some point where even if you continue replacing foods from here with foods from there, your health parameters likely have plateaued and are not gonna get significantly better. In a perfect world, everyone would eat foods that are on the right side of the spectrum and minimize foods on the left side of the spectrum. Now, I eat a 100% whole food plant-based diet, which is minimally processed, and I can tell you now that 100% of my calories that I get day in, day out come from this far end of the spectrum where there aren't healthier foods that you can use. Now, 60% of Canadians' calories are coming from processed or ultra-processed foods that are typically coming from here. We get probably about 30% or more of your calories then from processed meats in these here. And after that, about 5% to 10% max of calories of the average Canadian comes from whole and minimally processed plants. Now, although I choose to eat a 100% plant-based diet, studies show that if you're getting 80 to 85% of your calories from foods that are on the right side of the spectrum, on this side here, your health parameters are likely to get drastically better. So if you're doing that, there is space for calories from the other side of the spectrum, and it might not impact your health parameters significantly. Now, if we're looking at ultra-processed foods, I think people know that they're unhealthy. Donuts, muffins, cake, sugary soft drinks like soda, ultra-processed cereals, white bread. I think that most people understand that these foods are ultra-processed and are not necessarily health promoting. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't fit inside of a healthy dietary pattern. Remember that it's what you're doing most of the time over the long term that's going to impact your health. Just as eating broccoli once a month is not going to make you healthy, eating junk food here and there rarely is not going to make you unhealthy. And the goal is always to remove guilt and regret when people are consuming foods that are maybe not health promoting in a context of a healthy dietary pattern. So, the goal is to move towards that side and to stop wherever you feel in your comfort zone. Now, if you feel in your comfort zone eating most of your calories here from red processed meats and ultra processed foods, so be it. That's up to you and your choice, but you will have to live with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease and chronic disease in general. Now, you add life to your years and years to your life by eating farther down the spectrum. You choose where you want to go. Now, I'd say a Mediterranean diet would be probably somewhere here, whereas a whole food plant-based diet would be somewhere there. If you're eating a animal-based ketogenic diet, you're probably somewhere here. And these diets are associated with an increased risk of chronic disease, mainly cardiovascular disease, which is our top killer. So when someone says, are eggs healthy? I would have to say, eggs are here. Anything this way is less healthy than eggs, and anything this way is probably healthier than eggs. And this simply means that if you're eating any foods here and you replace the calories from these foods with eggs, you're getting healthier. If you're eating foods that are here and you're replacing calorie with eggs, you're probably not getting healthier. So that's where that making a simple change from going bacon, sausages, which are ultra processed meats, and switching it for a bowl of oatmeal with grains and whole grains and nuts and seeds and berries, you're making a huge jump for your health, right? Now, if you can do that every day, right on, but just doing it here and there is great because health is dose dependent. Now, that means that your health parameters will trend in the same direction as the percentage of calories you're getting from whole foods. So as you're walking towards this side of the spectrum, the incidence of chronic disease goes down and your health parameters go up in a stepwise dose-dependent fashion. Now, between 80% whole food plant-based and 100% whole food plant-based, you probably can't measure a big difference in change in health. And that's why, if you're doing it simply for health reasons, being almost plant-based is great. And almost a full plant where you're getting maybe 80 to 85% of your calories from whole foods most of the time is a great, great, great thing to strive for. Now, that being said, I decided to go 100% full plant and whole food plant-based because I do recognize that it is dose dependent. So if you get 100%, you'll get 100% of the benefit if you go 100% of the way. And I'm naturally a very intense person. So, but that might not be you, right? So if you say that you're probably somewhere here, just taking foods that are in these categories and eating them less often is a great thing to start with. Probably starting by veganizing meals that you already eat. So if you're eating a chili, maybe put some beans instead of red meat or beef. If you're using pancakes for breakfast, well, there are pancakes with different types of less ultra-processed flours, and maybe a banana and plant-based protein powder would go in your pancake. If you're using white bread, maybe switching for whole wheat bread would be even a little bit better. Even better than that, if you can use Ezekiel bread or sourdough bread, that would be right there. So the point is simply making a kind of a mental note of the foods that you eat and where are they in these categories, and seeing if there are swaps that you can make that are more trending that way. Now, if you're drinking a lot of dairy, maybe going for a plant-based milk like soy milk would be a good idea. If you're eating a lot of red meat, just switching for maybe chicken would typically be better than eating red meat. Um, so everything exists on a spectrum, and if you'd be to zoom into that ultra processed category, or even any individual categories, you'd see that all of them exist on a spectrum. So inside of each individual category, there's a difference between factory farmed red meat and lean cuts of red meat that are grass fed, right? So health parameters do correlate with how you're trending towards this side of the spectrum, and we could zoom in on every single side of the spectrum, even on the I'll give you a seafood as an example. Eating as low as you can on the food chain, if you're eating seafood, will be better, because as we move up the food chain, there are toxins and heavy metals that are concentrated in the seafood protein, in the seafood meat. So kind of just keep that in mind. It's a rough, how you say that, a rough draft, and I think I'll be continuing, hopefully for my whole career, on working on it and kind of making it more detailed. But I just wanted to present to you how food fits on a spectrum, and don't see food as either good or bad. You can see it as part of that spectrum somewhere on it, and if you can get most of your calories most of the time from foods that are more on that side, your health will get better. Right on. Cool. All right. Happy Saturday. Enjoy the sun today, and tomorrow is going to be an awesome day. If you've watched this video, let me know, and let me know what you think, and if it's clear, and if you understand what I'm trying to present here. And if you don't, let me know so I can try to fine tune my message. Cool. All right. Peace out.